Hey, Queen.
Hey, Kamisha, what's going on?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, you don't want to say my name correctly. First of all, I'm happy. It's been a while since you've been on my podcast, but you sound nice and clear too. First of all, how you
Oh,
doing,
good.
Mama?
Yeah, I
How you
got it. I
doing?
got everything. I got everything fair and square. I got everything charged up, and I'm about to have my kids squared away. We might get cut off a little bit depending upon how long we go, because my kids are getting picked up.
I know it's
But
all good. It's all good. It's record. It's record. It's on record. As soon as we get on here, so we can just
all
jump right
right,
in, Mama. We can jump
let's
right
let's
in.
jump
So,
let's jump right in. Man, it feels so good to be able to talk to you again. We'll get into it today, but what a difference a couple of months in a year make. And I just, I
mm,
appreciate you for always being somebody that's been on the up and up. You ask the tough questions, but you ask them with love, and you give
yeah.
us space to unpack and unravel whatever it is we need to unpack and unravel. So,
And her side piece is here.
oh my goodness, you hear Leah in the
I
background. She's
do.
sitting
I
right
do.
here
I
with me.
I'm so little, but I am here. Okay.
Man, Kamisha,
do.
Leah has the best
Oh,
dog in the world. She has a wonderful, wonderful sidekick who has ventured out here during my time in need
wow.
with me. And when I talk about just us, people just throw the word spirit animal around there. But I think for the
Mm,
very first time I've actually met one. Like this dog is special. And I don't want to say too much about the dog because,
right.
nefarious folk may try to
Got you.
try to
You know
see
that's
it for
true. That's true.
themselves. But
Period.
this,
Period.
but for
Let's
those
speak on it.
folks who do are animal lovers that
Yeah.
have cats, that have dogs, that have birds, and other living, breathing things that bring them joy, I tell you, you look love up in the dictionary, you're gonna see a picture of Leah's little.
And I
So
hate her.
Mm,
She's my baby. Look at her.
can you hear her?
oh,
I'm gonna scoot
I
over
can.
so
No, I can
so
hear
you
it. She
can
sounds very
hear.
clear.
All right,
I can
cool,
hear.
cool.
Yes. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. First of all, I want to ask you how you're doing. Of course, I know that, but the audience that doesn't know that listens to me. So I want you to say how you're doing because that isn't the most important thing to me, of course. So
Well,
how are you
yeah,
doing?
for those that may be hip or may not be hip, in October of 2023, I was diagnosed with metastasized invasive ductal carcinoma. What that means is I have breast cancer, and that breast cancer is a result of a PALB2 mutation on my BRCA gene. And what that means is it's a hereditary condition
Mm.
that predisposes my body to not be able to fight the cancer cells when they begin to grow.
Oh my
Whereas
God.
most folks that don't have that mutation
Hmm.
um, are able to fight it off. I don't have that capacity. So imagine a PALB2 um, genetic mutation. It's like having a cheerleader, and it cheers your cells on. It says grow, 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 but it doesn't always know when it's cheering for the wrong team. And
Right.
so my mutation is, cheering for the cancer
The-
team right now. So as such, I've gone through I've gone through 10 weeks of chemotherapy, and I've gone through you might hear my little people in the background,
I
Okay.
hear 'em.
but I've gone through 10 weeks of chemotherapy, and I've gone through now a bilateral mastectomy. I've had both my breasts removed.
Mm.
One of my breasts actually had the tumor and the metastasized cancer that has spread to my lymph nodes. Um, that that was removed, and then my left breast has been preemptively removed. My mother and my grandmother and my great grandmother all battled with cancer.
Oh
So for
God.
me,
Mm.
that decision to preemptively remove the left breast as well as the impacted breast um, is, it wasn't a question of whether or not I was going to do that, because I am in that season of doing everything and anything possible to increase or more so decrease the risk of not having a prolonged life.
Okay.
So, I think what winds up happening is that when it comes to cancer, many times people immediately connect with the very last experience that they've had with cancer or the last experience someone they know and love has had with cancer. And then
Mhm.
that's extended out to everyone. However, what I've learned, and I had to, humble myself to learn a lot through this too. There are so many different iterations and variants of how people are exposed to cancer, and not exposed. That's not the right word. How people, once they are diagnosed with cancer, are exposed to the different variations of what cancer looks like within them.
Mm.
Some people find out and they're like, yeah, you have like two or three tumors. It's spread through the lymph nodes and it's in your leg. Other people like me, I'm considered like a stage 2/3. Like literally, stage 3 is generally when it has metastasized to the lymph nodes and has moved to other parts of the body. Mine has metastasized to the lymph nodes. However, they weren't able to find any discrete evidence. They had gone other places in my body. But as a result, that's why I'm doing the full round. That's why I did the full round of chemo and doing a full round of radiation and then having the mastectomy. Because again, all you need is a little microscopic presence of cancer, and that cancer can germinate more cancer cells in your body. So, my treatment type is called an aggressive type of treatment. It's very, very aggressive, meaning that we're really trying all the things that we can try to suppress and ensure that this cancer is eradicated to the best that science can, as well as nutrition can. So,
Wow.
that being said, it's been all hands on deck. The people who know me, and love me the most. I've kind of done the rally all call. We tell our friends and loved ones at times, hey, call me if you ever need anything.
Mm.
Well, this has been that call, Kamisha. Like I've been like, hey y'all, yeah, I do. I do need something, and that looks like it looks very different from person to person, relationship to relationship. Um,
Of
but
course.
with this time also coinciding, ironically, with the premiere of
Mm.
another challenge season,
Mhm.
that has caused me to really call upon people who have been amazingly beacons of truth in my life.
Mhm.
Because facing death ain't if that ain't the truth for you.
Right.
if you're
Right.
not if you're not
Mhm.
facing if you're not facing anything other than that, I don't know what that walk is like. Because that
Mm.
because to realistically be able to say like, wow, based on the numbers, you might only have, a couple good years left.
Oh
And
man.
and you start to really evaluate your
Everything.
relationships and your
Yeah.
connections and your moves. So for me, it's like, okay, I wrote a list. I was like, these are the people who I know, love, and trust the most in the world. And these are the folks that if I knew inherently that I didn't have the time to put off not one more minute, being able to tell them I love them, being able to
Mm.
have a moment, being able to break bread, share memory. These are the ones that are gonna get that time. And you know, my homegirl is on that list, and she came.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she got here. She got here last. Well, actually, it's this morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning. She got here from all the way across the country.
Wow.
Put her life on hold
Mm.
to just come out here and be a soldier, the soldier she's
Yes.
always been. But
Mhm.
she's gonna be a soldier in this fight too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, like I said, there's a lot of things going around right now that don't paint me in the most favorable light on the outside, but on the inside, I got the folks that know who I am. They know my truth, and they've shown me nothing but love ever. So, and I think that's what people need. Like during this time when they're fighting the fight of their life, they got to have people around them that
Yes.
see that see the love, and they understand their assignment, and they value life in such a way that um, you don't have to have a do over. You don't have to revise and edit love. You just are. So
Period.
so as we even talking on the phone right now, Leah is like she just took the baton and ran with it. She getting the girls ready. They about to go to, one of them got soccer practice. The other one got a little
Oh, she's
play date.
awesome.
Yeah, she's getting them together uh to get on out the road for that. And that's just what it is. So I just, again, when you reached out to me, I'm feeling strong today. I'm what
Yeah.
is this now? I'm on my 6th day post mastectomy.
Yes.
And I feel good. I feel strong. I know that in a really short time, about 2 weeks from today, maybe three, I'm going to then be starting radiation. So I'm not going to be
Mm.
I'll be as strong.
Yeah.
So I just thank you for taking your time out to let me talk about this and talk about what's happening. And, if it touches one of your listeners or whatever else the case may be, I just would love to be a part of our collective societal healing
Yes.
when it comes to dealing
Yes.
with this deadly disease.
Dealing with this is, I can't even imagine the most time that we would talk about is you going on the challenge again. And so, of course, when the flyer came out, I was going crazy. I was hitting you up, blah, 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 blah. Even though I knew you were going through, I just wanted to, get that smile because I remember the conversations that we had years ago where we was like, you were working on your health, you was, doing a bike ride, you doing all these things, and you motivated many people. And then to see you go on there and everything is just a beautiful moment. And I know you have other things in your mind, but I wonder have you had opportunities to self reflect on that. Anyway, what I was asking the self reflective moment because you and I used to talk all the time about as far as your health, you were doing recap with me, you again, people say these things, it doesn't always happen. I'm just in real life. So when you said it and you was like, I'm not sure, where I am on the pole with the challenge, people, and to get see you stuff get on there was that a self-reflecting moment for you where it's like, damn, I did get on there and I got healthy, when you got on there at the time?
So let me cap back. Let me recap what
Okay.
I think you're asking, so that I'm clear on what's being asked. Um, when oh yeah, so like the last time we talked, I wasn't certain
Yes.
if, because in All-Stars 2, I had quit. During the final, my body had given out on me, and I wasn't certain if I would ever be asked back.
Right.
Because of that, they would give their right arm to make it to a final, and then
Yes,
to
God.
quit during the final,
Hmm.
without being carried out on a stretcher. Um, that that's kind of that's seen as a no-no, like a huge
Mm.
no-no,
Hmm.
um, to say the very least of things. So, I didn't know if I would be asked back. I was on the bigger side in terms of my weight. I did not have the physical conditioning to withstand that final.
Mm.
So to be asked back again, like, I really wanted to show up, not to body shame anyone, but I just wanted to show up at my peak condition. I wanted to show up being able to jump over, jump through, jump inside, um, just being able to take on very specific exercises to be at my best, and I think I had done that work. So to be asked back was a privilege, and I didn't
Mm.
want to take any part of it for granted.
Yes. I feel like that. I feel like it's when you first got started. Remember, I told you. I feel like that's the Ayanna. Like when you were crying, you said I had the suit on ready to go. You know what I'm saying? To this day, I feel like that. is who I saw coming in, and seeing you so slim, not necessarily slim, but just smaller than you were before. I was like, she just looks like she works so hard, and it's a beautiful thing. It's hard to lose weight. Let's start with that. Especially I'm only 47, and baby, it's a struggle. So at a
No,
certain
that's
age,
real.
it's rough. So I have to commend you because if I want you, I'm like, girl, I'm on a bike. I'm saying to myself, I need to be on a bike too. Wasn't doing nothing, and so to see the results of it is a beautiful thing. So it's something to be proud of. You know, I'm sure other
Yep,
people
exactly. It's
admire.
like, and we're the same age, in the same age range. I'm 45, I'll be 46 this year.
Okay.
And the reality of hormones and how as women our bodies shift over time, we face different iterations of what that looks like. And the reality is it was hard. And I'm
Mm,
juggling my children's schedules, my own schedule, working a job, uh, and just some of those times where you need to work out, all the pieces have to line up perfectly in order for you to be able to get to the gym or get in a space where you can really give it its just due. And
mm.
it was not easy by
And
any
then yeah.
stretch.
Mm,
But keeping that goal top of mind to say, all right, you're being given a second chance.
mm,
Be ready. Be ready. Because this time, if for whatever reason the end doesn't come to the result that you want,
yeah.
your body giving out on you, you won't have to carry that with you because you would have
Mm,
known, or at least for me, I would have known that I did everything that I could do to be
that
ready to
makes
go.
sense. That makes sense. So this season that has come on is like watching you. You're kind of like you're just shining. Like to me, I'm like, man, all I can't do is but watch Ayanna. What's going on? What's she doing? What's she doing? Literally the talk of chats and everything else. It's like people like even old video. People hit me up on the old video. I'm watching her right now on All Stars. That has to make you feel really good to have some of that positive feedback that people missed you.
Oh man, and who wouldn't feel good, have being well received. That's natural. And you know, on top of all of that, of course, going through what I'm going through right now, the
Yeah.
positivity, those gems and those doses of positivity are priceless. So it does feel good because, after the last season, of course that word that starts with a Q, is right in your
Mm-hmm.
face. Folks
Yep.
really don't always care your reasons why, but they get thrown in your face, quitter, 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 when all the my life represents someone that hasn't quit in so
Period.
many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
you got to come to grips with the fact that, hey, your body, you weren't ready. So to come into All-Stars 4 being more ready than I'd been for anything ever in my life,
Mm.
I just, man, I just it was a reflection of my appreciation, and it really did feel good to hear people wanting to know how this would go.
Okay. Strategy wise, I'm not sure if you ever used strategy or maybe if you had any going in the past, but going into this one, what was your mindset as far as strategy?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily dismiss the fact that when you have this kind of show, period, we're all bringing to the show who we are before we got the call to come on. And you're
Gotcha.
going to be bringing your reasons, you're going to be bringing your why. Like my why was still right there on my chest,
Mm.
making sure that my kids are good. Now, I was in a much better position in life than I was for All-Stars 2, but I still wasn't able to just, stop my life and fly halfway across the world without it being a hardship. You
Right.
know, I didn't have an au pair to sit at home with my people,
Right.
you know, right. So, and you have to pull on your community. You got to pull on folks who believe in you. So, when I got on that plane, I was getting on that plane with like 20 other people that were rallying
Mm.
behind with different levels of, love, care, and support. And
Right.
so I wouldn't say that my mindset was any different. In terms of strategy, I still wasn't there yet in terms of coming in wanting to have game or wanting to game anyone, like coming into it,
Got
you
you.
know, walking into the house for the first time and kind of seeing, what was going to be put in front of us in terms of the the challenge and all the people that were in the room. My why was still to get to that final. It's like that's it. You need to get to the final. Like you need to, try your hand and show the world what you're made of. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So that being
Love 'em.
said, uh, one thing I definitely didn't expect was seeing people that hadn't been in the hadn't come on the challenge for over 20 years. I didn't expect to see Flora and Keefla and some of the faces that I hadn't seen in many years. I was very also excited to see Veronica. Um,
Mm.
that's the first time that we had been back to South Africa as a unit. The last time we were in South Africa was 23 years ago. Like,
Wow.
come on, like people don't really understand that we stepped on those shores just only a few years after apartheid ended. Both she and I, as people of color, there would have been certain spaces we couldn't go into
At
in
that
a
time,
certain
yeah.
way at the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Um, had it been only 9 years before the first time that we walked onto the shores. So to come back to that space 23 years later, I'll be honest, many of my feelings about the game were also padded with these bigger notions of wow. Last time you was in South Africa, you were in a township. Last time you was in South Africa, you were riding across to Robben Island where Nelson Mandela had been incarcerated for many years, talking with Eddie Daniels, who was incarcerated with him. Like it's a heavy. It was there was a. It's a privilege, I think, too, to be able to reflect on a part of your life in the space where it happened when it happened. You know, could I ever afford to fly myself and all of my kids to South Africa to reflect on being in South Africa? That's that's questionable about whether I'll ever be in a position in life to do that on my own. So yeah, to say that I was sitting back reading 1,000 books about strategy and really going
Now,
into
thousand
it
books.
with
Mm-hmm.
pregame and all of that, like
Right.
that wasn't my bag. And for some of us that going to challenge is never our bag because we don't live our lives like that. Which is why I'm just so glad that Lee is here with me right now.
In a
Because
Gucci bag. Let me just talk. And this is not even my
Lord.
well, you are my Gucci bag girl. You are my rare, precious person that represents. You talk about what we carry in our what we carry what we choose to carry our precious our most precious self in. And you know, again, I walked in that house really wanting to have some redemption for not making it through that final. Also just being grateful and thankful for getting another shot at this. Single
Yeah.
mom in DC, working in somewhat of a public service capacity, trying to, every time your bills come, you can pay four, but there's gonna be two that
Right.
are, that might
Sketchy.
not get touched. Right, they might have
Gonna be
to get on the wait list.
payment arrangement.
Mm,
Okay. Can we get a payment?
yeah, you might have a payment arrangement on those. So,
remember Layaway?
like, yeah, oh
I
yeah,
want
I
to ask a
remember
question
layaway.
about that. Oh, that's back in the day. I
Hello.
Did she die?
Oh,
is a beautiful thing.
oh,
Do
you have to
you?
repeat it because it
Oh,
cut
okay.
out.
Okay, I'm sorry. I said the fact that there was the people of color in the house. Speaking of the apartheid, I just made me think about the theme of that. It was beautiful to see so many, but unity. It seems like when on the reality shows, when there is a plethora of us in the house, the unity is missing. How do you feel about that? Do you believe that's a true statement?
Um, I think that's a hard question to be asked because, when we talk about, you know, this notion of being, and I'm speaking more so in general terms and not
Gotcha.
about specifically All Stars 4. When you talk about this notion of, being unified with other people, one could argue that, you're going to be aligned with the people that have been aligned for you. In some cases, that means that the qualifiers for that are, how much time you've known somebody, whether or
Yes.
not, you've broken bread with that person, if you know their kids. And for others, that line is going to be a little bit thinner. I think that I've been in the game a long enough time over the course of my journey with the show
Hmm.
that for me, regardless of color, I've always been one that when I have a loyalty, I'm loyal to that person.
You have.
And they generally are loyal to me. In that, and race is never the part that, you know, that defines whether or not our relationship is tight. And I hope that that's something that has been communicated across the lines.
For
I
you,
know
yeah,
that
you've
I know
always
that
been like that.
online, I know that online some of the younger folk and the newer folk, they may have a different narrative, but all I ask is be fair. Go back in
Hmm.
time. Look at the old shows. Like look at all of anytime I've ever been in the media, I've always been someone that has expressed that I'm loyal to those that I have relationships with,
Always have.
regardless of color. My existence on this earth is a amalgamation of many, many different cultures, many, many different, constructs of race. Even within my family,
Mm.
all four of my kids are different, hues and colors. So
And I'm
Yes.
really quiet.
She is so silly. I don't have time.
yeah, so it definitely like hurts in a very different kind of way to be, characterized as someone that would put somebody's race at the forefront as to who or why I would either be connected or disconnected with a person. It's very hurtful,
Mm.
especially like for the work that I like the literal work that I do every day in the place where I work, who I work with, how I work with them, the deep, deep relationships that my children have with people from around the world, Um, and not to swipe step the question or anything.
Oh no, no, you good.
However, a huge chunk of our lives for the last 20 years have been involved with, language immersion and really pushing language immersion opportunities for all in the city where I live. And
Gotcha.
And that being said, that means my kids have grown up with best friends that really look like the leaves on multiple trees, in terms of how they look and how they sound and what their
How the
family
world
makeup
looks.
looks like.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And that's
How the
something
world
that's been
actually looks.
right. And it's been important. That's been important, like paramount for what I want my kids to like live like. I don't want them to just have one notion of what any, race or construct is and then like just abide by that. I feel like the internet nowadays encourages
I
young
was getting
people
ready to
that
say that. I was getting ready to say that
yeah,
'cause see, I grew up there. I grew up military, so I never was. It was my the races I saw were the colors of the tree. So like as you stated, I'm from Louisiana as well. So I grew up that way. Your kids are growing up. So I think that's a beautiful way to grow up, honestly. But the question I asked, of course, because of the line of work that I am in, and I know that, because of I saw some little rumbling, not too much, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come up. If you go against a person that's same color, they look at like some kind of betrayal, and it's just that's the way it is. I've dealt with it, Big Brother, all different kind of shows, so that's why I asked the question, kind of knowing what you're gonna say anyway. But I asked you the question so people can hear your response, which I knew was gonna be colorful and beautiful, as you stated. So with
Well,
that
let
be,
me.
oh,
I'll try to be a little bit more succinct with it because you know, that's I've always been someone that's been a little verbose and talkative, and up till this point, it's been something that I thought was something that was an asset, something that
it
was
is an asset.
celebrated because
Mm-hmm.
this. Why would we come all the way around the world to sit in a room and be silent and not talk to each other?
Hundred
So, at
percent.
any rate, um, but I'll give you this. You know, it's very easy and simple to look at the race of or the perceived race of whomever is having an argument on television.
Mm.
My only
Good
question
point.
to anybody would be if that same argument was being had by people that were not black, would you be asking them if there was unity with that race? If that makes any sense. Is it because we are black you are asking whether or not there's a lack of unity?
No, for me, I can say by experience of doing of interviewing, doing these shows, that I've seen a lack of unity in even in the other races, and I have asked the same question. I've asked that amongst women that were on the show, where reality TV, most collectively, women don't always be solid and win. Most time, then this is true fact. If you watch any show from Big Brother down the Challenge, there's been maybe one or two women who got together in unison and won. Something always happens. So those questions I have asked those before because I've been wanting to figure out why can't that happen. Why can't women in the house get together and win or whatever. So I've asked those questions a million times. If you was around a bunch of women that was arguing regardless of race, I would ask you the same thing. Why can't y'all collectively get together and be unity? So that's why
Well,
I
I
asked
think
that
that if
question.
people to have a I think that if folks can at the very least of things stretch themselves just a little bit
Hmm.
to realize that just because there are miscommunications or just because there are arguments or just because a group of people don't like each other, that doesn't always necessarily represent a lack of something. It just
Okay.
may represent exactly what that is, a
Hmm.
group of folk that don't see eye to eye. I think that to be have a little grace with human beings versus
Hmm.
wanting to crucify folk like from the onset. Like now all of a sudden, your whole it's character assassination. You a bad person. You don't deserve to be on this earth.
Mm.
It's like one person even wrote on my comments that me having cancer is like a karmic result
Oh my
of
God.
whatever was seen on the show. And
Oh wow.
I can
Horrible.
stand on my square and say, I have cancer because I have a genetic mutation that's been carried down for 3 or 4 generations. Full stop. Like
Hmm.
that's I got paperwork to prove that.
Right.
So let's
Science.
go ahead and
Right.
take the character assassination off the table. I got involved with the shows truly because I was told that this was going to be an opportunity for us to be nostalgic, have a good time, have fun, maybe win a couple dollars, and you know, and meet new people, connect, and give all the viewers, give them a good time, reminiscing on a time that you know that ain't never gonna happen again in the same
Mm.
way.
Mm.
And so that's my why. That's part of my why of getting involved. My number one why was always bring home resources for my family. Number two why,
Yes.
have a good time, make light of, some of the things that maybe back in the day were a little bit more serious.
Mm.
Bring some joy, bring some, enjoyment. Um, it was
I like how
not
you put that.
to it was is, make it so that if you sat in your living room and chose to, stream this content that you left feeling better than what you started with. Like I don't want you feeling like, oh dang, I can't get that, 45 minutes back, you
Ah.
know?
Okay.
And
You are
so
so petty, but yes, I
you
get what
know,
but yes, I get what you
so
say. That's pretty good. Yeah.
so that's again in a roundabout way, just to be real explicit, to your audience. I'm not it's not that I'm not trying to be direct, with addressing any specific thing, but
Hmm.
I've been specifically told I can't talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it in that way, but
Gotcha.
in a more general sense.
Yes. Hmm. Of
Um,
course. Of course.
like I
Wow.
said, everybody got their why for why they do and make the choices in life that they make their choices for. I know that I made the choice to participate because, like, again, I saw it as a once in a lifetime and now possibly a twice in a lifetime opportunity to go back in time and reclaim my redemption
Right. Right.
as an athlete, as somebody that maybe was once one more shot and the glory of it. We were fighting for bikes and computers and lifetime supply of bubble gum back then.
Wow.
We there wasn't social media. There wasn't the influencer. It wasn't there. There wasn't. It did not. The society didn't look like what it looks like now in terms of the consumption of media. I think that some of us are learning in new ways. Okay. Some of us are learning in new ways about what this is for them. I can't
Hmm.
speak about that, but I can only speak about what it was for me. And for
So I know
me,
you say you can't speak.
it is what it is.
Is it? Is it? Will you? Did you get a confirmation that you'll be able to in the future?
Um, hey, Lisa. Not yet. I haven't, but
Okay.
right about now, my biggest joy is to use the time that I have that I'm strong to, share about my journey. Uh, I get a lot of
That's
inspiration
powerful.
from Nelson, um,
Yes. Oh,
because
Nelson.
it's wild. Because even though our circumstances are very different, the
Hmm.
results they're just a lot of through lines that are very similar. For him to be so young and to lose, a part of his body, but then to
Right.
gain this awareness and this understanding as an amputee. There were times where I didn't want to talk about having cancer. I didn't want to
Mm.
talk about having my breast removed. I didn't want to talk about facing the reality that I might not be able to, be here to see my
Hmm.
kids graduate. I would turn on Nelson's page, and here's Nelson with his bright smile, And the irony is that I met him about a year before his accident.
Mm.
I I met him and Corey, and they were eating at this outdoor restaurant, and I was coming out of Sephora, and we just had this moment, and I had a chance to briefly get to know them both at Cyrus's event, and to celebrate the premiere of All-Stars 3. And I was just like, wow, these young men, are just so dynamic and they're just on it. And it just really felt good to, see them thrive in that
Yeah.
space. And so, to have his journey with the challenge change so dramatically
Mm.
because of hit the car accident, and then also to be on the sidelines of what he went through um, publicly, as folks did, a straight up character assassination campaign. Um, in some cases warranted, and in other cases, I think a little bit harsh given the ultimate price that he's had to pay.
Mm.
Um, you know, no one lost their lives explicitly, but
Right.
he did lose his life as he knew it that night.
Mm. He
So,
did. Oh,
and
awful.
gained a new life.
Hmm.
So I'm here for human beings being human and finding ways to amplify whatever mistakes, whatever wrongs that needed to be right. I'm here for it. And again, I get some of the arguments that people have against, what happened with Nelson, but I can only speak to my walk, which also I think mirrors the walks of a lot of people that have
Hmm.
um, that have connected with his journey. What resonates with me is his resilience, and during a time where I needed to really connect with resilience on all sides, Nelson inspired me. There were moments
Mhm.
where like I didn't even want to roll out of the bed because I didn't have the strength or the energy to, try to push through getting all my kids together and out the door for school and go all the way over to the hospital one more time to sit around and wait and then be anxious because I didn't always know how the treatments were going to go and how I'd be able to feel and did not want to make my kids scared and all of those, that internal noise that is muted when I'm looking at Nelson and his mom saying, "We got this. We're fighting through it. We're going to push through it." And him doing it in such a way that was consistent over time. I will be forever grateful to him and his mom for sharing themselves with the world in this way because I don't know how many other people he's touched, but all I can say is that he's touched me
Yeah,
and
he's
it
touched a
helped.
lot of us. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful to hear that. I want to ask you because I know I want to get you up in here so you can rest and everything. I want to ask you one more question. The theme I feel like of the show is the strength of the friendships, how long you've known them, the one you talked about. Do you think that it's going to challenge history going forward? Because I feel like the friendships have been these 20-year friendships. It's not like you said the Instagram. I just met you yesterday. These are some strong ass. This girl helping people work out. Just like strong friendships. Do you think they're going to change the game going forward in the future?
Well, that's up to, it's really up to the TV magic they decide to show because there's so many stories and there's just so many opportunities to amplify long-standing relationships and also shed light to the ones that are new. But whether or
Mm,
not you as an audience get to see that is up to the creatives who either decide to, push themselves creatively to offer a dimensional story or not. The fans can ask for what they want to ask for, but it's really up to the folks that are going to be sorting and sifting through everything to decide whether or not that has value. So at
interesting.
any rate, I do have to go now, but
Hmm.
to the extent that I can talk about, the actual All Stars 4 and kind of get into it. Um, I'm here. I'll always support you, Kamisha. You've been there since day one. And I just appreciate you having a platform, as a powerful woman and being able to, just be out here to be one more opportunity for people to hear your perspective and your vision on what we all see. So I thank you and I
Yes, ma'am,
appreciate
Queen.
you.
I appreciate you, Mama. Thank you so much. I love you, Ayanna. Thank you, baby. Thank you so
All
much.
right, love you too, B. Peace. Hey, y'all ready to go for a walk?